gentlemen, it is your boy, Sean Spencer. We on air, people. We are live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. Yo, so glad to be here with you guys.
That sun shining on you. Always put yourself in a position where the sun shines on you.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is your boy back again, Sean Spencer, one half of that dynamic duo that is Let's Talk Football. Hey, it is Monday, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, July the 27th. Yes, July is almost done. And hey, this year is going by quickly. We're already halfway through and we're getting close to August. And if we're getting close to August, you know what that means. Football is back, baby. It is back. It is right around the corner. We are here at training camp. Teams are getting ready, getting in that hot sun, getting ready for the preseason, which is it's 2 weeks away. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2 weeks away. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? You know who can't believe it? This guy. This guy has been excited. He's been waiting. You see what it is. Washington, college football's back. We're going to dive into all of that. But look, hey, how's it going? How are you? How have you been? It has been a while. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I've been trying to get a couple things together off camera so I can make sure that I can just 100% focus on you guys and this and on camera and all the stuff we got going on, man. And I got a lot of stuff to talk to you about today, so bear with me. I'm going to try to get it all in here and go back and forth with you and everything like that. But before we do, got to do a little housekeeping. You see it right over there. Off the Wall Media. That's who we're with. Trying to go over there, Off the Wall TV. I'm your guy, Sean Spencer, the host of Off the Wall Sports. So many great things we have coming down the pike this season, and I really want you to get in touch with it. Shout out to Bree and Art. They will be having soon a entire show, which is like multifaceted, culture, news, music, spoken word, everything, and I will be there with them in that sports guy. But in the meantime, and in between time, your boy is here talking sports. I can do this all day, so this is what we're coming here to do. What's up, guys? All of you guys in the comments or just, hey, passing by, whatever the case, shout out, show some love, talk some sports. This is what I love to do. So let's get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, now I do want to talk football. I do. But there has been some news that came out. I was talking about it on my walk last week. And right after I talked about it, literally an hour or two after I talked about it, the news came out. And hey, if you're an NBA fan, this is something you probably have paid attention to. LeBron James, what many consider the GOAT. I have said it many a times. That is not what I consider the GOAT, but I will give him his due. I mean, 23 going on 24 seasons, has every record in the book. You know what I mean? Like, this guy is great, without a shadow of a doubt. He is one of, if not, in many people's estimations, the best player to ever play the game, and you got to give him his credit for everything that he has been able to do. He is still playing, even though he said last year was his last year. Then obviously this offseason has come about, and now he's saying this year, or at least this tenure, might be his last year. He has signed a 2-year, $8 million deal with the 76ers, the four-time in NBA MVP, the four-time champion. He's coming to Philly, ladies and gentlemen. And it's funny, I saw a friend of mine put up a post. This is the first time somebody went from Bel Air to West Philadelphia, which, if you know the whole intro song of Fresh Prince of Bel Air, born in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground where I spend most of my days chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all kicking on. You know what I mean? You know the song. So he did the opposite. He came here and, hey, wow. Blockbuster. I mean, look, There's a lot of people out there, me included, thinking Golden State was going to be what he's going to do, go with Steph Curry. Maybe AD came from Washington and went to Golden State. That didn't happen. You know, there was a lot of talk about Miami. I talked to one of the creators of this Off the Wall network, the entrepreneur, who was telling me South Beach, Miami, returning to Miami, doing big things, man. I had speculation, you know, we were kind of speculating about that. I had my issues with going back to a team he had already gone for, but I like this. I like the fact that this guy, the 4-time NBA MVP, you know, 11-time all NBA team, you know what I mean? Like all these accolades, goes to the 76ers, a team that incidentally has not won a title, an NBA Finals title, since 1983. What else happened in 1983? Your boy right here was born. So that shows how long it's been since they have been to the title. We all know LeBron, when he went back to Cleveland and he got them their first title and basically shut down the 56-year Cleveland sports drought. Got the Cavs in 2016, got them that title where he came back down 3-1 and did the unthinkable against Steph Curry and the Golden State Warriors. I mean, listen, the guy has no shortage of accolades. We know the resume is deep. We know how great this guy is. And he came here. They welcomed him with open arms. I think there was some on social media where they went into, if you looked at his locker room, they had the blue number 23 LeBron James jersey and like a little crown on the side of it in his locker, just kind of symbolizing him being the king and all that stuff, King James. And look, shout out to him. And the question obviously goes right there. The guy was right around the time where he was going to retire. He was going to be done. Now all of a sudden he's here. Does he get them a title? As we know, last year the 76ers 45-37. The guy they got to the second round of the playoffs and then got swept by the eventual champion New York Knicks. Can he be the X factor? Everybody knows, if you paid attention to free agency and everything, Jaylen Brown from the Celtics and that trade for, I believe, Paul George, where they switched. He's there. It's okay. Jay Morrow says it's not does he get them a title, it's do they get him a title. Ooh, interesting perspective. I like that. And that's going to be something to see. LeBron could still play, and far be it from me to sit here and try to chop the man down. The guy can still ball without a shadow of a doubt. You're getting there. You're going to be there with Joel Embiid. Now you got Jaylen Brown on that squad. You got Tyrese Maxey. You got talented guys, stars on this team. And again, another reason why I'm kind of not putting him above on my greatest of all time list, because I always say Jordan, Kobe, those guys didn't have to do it with anybody else. We've seen Kobe do it without a Shaq, which was the big argument. Jordan, we already know who Jordan, how he built that and everybody, with that. Look, LeBron has a legit team now here. Can they continue this? Can they then all of a sudden get over that hump? We know how the East is deemed a little weaker than the West. We've seen LeBron. He had a title when he with the Lakers. Can he do it here? That's going to be the question. And I know all Philadelphia fans, shout out to my guy, David Stanek, who is a Philadelphia fan. Not sure how much he likes the 76ers or basketball. He's more of a hockey guy. But I got to ask him how they feel. And shout out to my guy, Johnny Dean, in the building. Appreciate all y'all chiming in and talking. Johnny Dean, can he stay healthy? And listen, the guy has been in the league 23 going on 24 years. You know what I mean? The guy has been playing for as long as a lot of people remember. I mean, that's the funny thing. There's a lot of guys that are in their mid-20s that, he's been around most of their life. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, or their entire lives. This is what they know, and they're getting a chance to play with him. So it's going to be interesting. Can he stay healthy? Can they dominate? And I said, can they stay healthy? That's the other. Embiid, we know, have had issues. Jaylen Brown coming off the injury. Let's see can these guys all stay healthy and come together and get this done. Now, he signed a 2-year deal for $8 million. This is going to see. We all know LeBron doesn't need the money. He's got, he spends an eighth of this on his body each year. You know what I mean? So we know he can potentially stay healthy. We're going to see that. It's going to be interesting to see what the depth for the 76ers looks like, how much they can shine and show up. And it's going to be interesting just to see kind of how they fare in the East. I mean, you got a lot of teams. You look at the Knicks doing it, Boston getting healthy. They're going to, try to keep coming. Washington, shout out to Washington, a young team, just picked up the number 1 draft pick. Can we get something going over here? I mean, there's a number of teams that are really ready to push to make their championship run. Miami, obviously, with Giannis Antetokounmpo now there, who is not going to be an easy run. It's not going to be a real easy run to the title. So, hey, we're going to see. 2 years. He said this is the last decision he's going to make. Does that mean he's done after this? We'll see. Does he have to get a title for him to feel satisfied? That's the big thing. I've been talking to my mom. I've been talking to friends. I've been talking to a bunch of people that have basically said, what do you have to play for outside of the love of the game? I mean, realistically, you've got rings. You've got 4. You've been around. You've got almost, if not every record, every major record. You've played 20 plus years. You got to play with your son, which is another question I want to ask in a minute. What else do you play for? What are you playing for? Is it another title? Is it you just don't want to? You don't know what to do with yourself if you're not playing a full season. That's going to be an issue. And I got to know. So Johnny said Celtics got screwed, man. Yeah, you look at it, man. You were really, coming into this offseason, they're really excited to get healthy, get their guys back. And then all of a sudden you get this blockbuster trade. And now 76ers then pick up LeBron. And it's like, what? The Celtics went from being one of those favorites to now being a team that's really kind of scrambling. Like, what are we going to do? And by no means have they completely tanked and fallen down. They still have talent, but it does make you wonder kind of, how are they going to be able to, get going and get back up on the good foot. Johnny Dean saying Philly's strength in their forwards, Bron, I don't believe is the game changer for them as much as Jaylen. Hey, that's going to be interesting. Another part of that I'm really eager to see is Embiid. How well does Embiid play now that we know he's been trying to get a title. We know he's been, somebody that has been looked at as, a great player, but just never can get over the hump. Can Embiid now that he has a LeBron, somebody that can be a facilitator, somebody that can take pressure off of him, can Embiid show up? Can Embiid play a full season? I mean, these are all things you got to ask, man. It's just there's a lot of speculation right now, but it's exciting to see LeBron James signs with the 76ers. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to be what everybody's going to want to talk about. And come game 1, let's see how they play together. Johnny said Embiid has to stay healthy most of all. Absolutely. Absolutely. But when you really look at that lineup with Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey, with Jaylen Brown, now you got LeBron. You know what I mean? Really, you looks favorable. It looks good. But let's see what we get from that. But give me your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know how y'all feel. Let me know what your thoughts are in reference to this big move. LeBron James again signs with the 76ers. He has stated this is the last decision he's going to make. This is potentially the end of the road. I'm going to tell you something, though, Johnny. I see you over here in the comments. Johnny said, I still think the Knicks are the cream of the crop there. You know what? If I'm a betting man, I'm putting my money on the Knicks as well, Johnny. I truly believe the Knicks right now, barring any health issues, I think they really the path is paved for them to get back to the title. Now, I will say, losing the center, Mitchell Robinson, I think that could play a big role, because we saw, when Big Cat got in foul trouble, he was the one that was really leaning on Wemby deep into that series that really kind of helped the Knicks out. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I agree. I think the Knicks right now, for my money, that's the top. And obviously, as long as you're on the top of the hill, as long as you're the champ, it all comes through you. So we'll see if Knicks can repeat. 76ers here doing it. Let me know how y'all feel. Another question I asked, and I want to know what y'all think about this. Bronny. I mean, that was one of the things that I talked to Art about prior to this. Is Bronny part of the deal? Is there some kind of package where they say, hey, I'll come here as long as Bronny gets to come with me? I mean, what are your thoughts, ladies and gentlemen? Because I don't think that Bronny is a standalone talent. Not saying he's not good. Anybody in the league is good, but I do think the fact that he was able to get over there with the Lakers and having his dad there, I ain't gonna go as far as to say nepotism to the nth degree, but I'm gonna say I don't think he gets in there and gets the PT that he gets without his daddy be on the team. That's just me. That's just me. I know you're talking about it, but I gotta say this. I will be I know you're talking about it, but I gotta say this. I will be shocked. Yeah, I will be too. It's gonna be interesting, man. I want to see what happens. I don't know if 76ers are gonna get it, but shout out to you guys in the comments, man. And like Morrow said, hey, can they be the X factor? Because at the end of the day, we already know LeBron technically is on his last leg, but the guy can still play. Hey, but look, I had to hit a little bit of basketball. Just because I know that's a big thing. I'm your sports guy, so I want to do that really quickly, but I'm going to take a quick breather because Johnny alluded to it. The NFL is back, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to dive into it. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. So, in honor of the NFL, you know what's coming back, ladies and gentlemen. First, my guy Johnny Dean, NFL edition. We got our draft coming up, Johnny. I'm ready. Are you ready? We'll see. But we got to do our draft show. But we also have Let's Talk Football. So stay tuned because we'll be back as well. I'll be right back, guys.
Episode of Let's Talk Football. Yep. I am Janae Struther.
I am Sean Spencer.
I am Janae Struther.
I'm Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football. Season 3, we are back. We are back.
That's right.
What's up, Mom?
Here we go. Mr. Nick, I want the smoke, Rosario.
Hey, what's happening, kids? How we doing?
Janae, Sean, thanks for having.
To him, we made baseball, football, and basketball. Rick,
Is Carson back?
When everyone played to the last play.
Yes.
So leagues like Raiders, Blues, how hard it is for this guy.
maybe you guys need to start wearing cream.
All right. I am Janae Struther.
I am Sean Spencer.
And this is Let's Talk Football.
Yeah, buddy. Shout out to my co-host Janae Struther, the amazing Janae Struther. And shout out to the whole brand of Let's Talk Football. We got a lot of stuff for you. The main show, Let's Talk Football, a roundtable, which early September, ladies and gentlemen. Get with us. We're going to be in Chicago live, the roundtable. Nicholas Rosario, Delilah Crespo, Tina Winter, and Anthony Handy will be live in Chicago talking sports, getting ready, doing a live opening show for Let's Talk Football, starting off the season right. I hope you guys can join us. I too will try to make it out there so that I will be your guy doing the play-by-play, if you will, being the producer, trying to do the best job that I can. So hopefully you can get in there. Yo, Ben Cornett said quite the day for your football teams today, Sean Spencer. And listen, Sean, and I will definitely be talking about UNC and the GM. I'm going to get into that a little bit later. And dear God, I'm telling you, our tight ends coach, Ben, like, what is going on, man? What is going on, man? But listen, it is what it is. Thankfully, the season hasn't even started, and this is what we're talking about. Ben, you are absolutely right. Oh, man. I'm here. It's your boy, Sean Spencer, man. We are here back, ready to talk football. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Hey, Johnny, I see you in the comments. And as a matter of fact, shout out to Ben Cornett, man, host of Have At It, host of Face the Heels, host of 2-3 Ben Zone. This guy has a number of great shows on there. His Dodgers are kicking butt in baseball. Hey, he chimed in and talked about it. And I didn't have this on the list, but I'm definitely going to talk about it because, Johnny, you just mentioned it. NFL is here. A lot of guys are looking for contracts. A lot of guys are looking for money. And this is when some of these guys hold out. If you rewind 365 days last year, it was our guy, Terry McLaurin, looking for another contract, looking to get money, did not participate for most, if not all, of training camp. Finally gets the deal right before the season, and then didn't get his legs under him and had injury issues all year around. And we obviously went 4-13 and had a struggling season. So this is a big deal. Now, Johnny, let me know what's going on. Christopher Cole, how you doing, man? Johnny, let me know. I know Vita Vey was another guy that was sitting in. Ben, you can tell me too if you're in the comments. I know Vita Vey was another guy that was holding in. All right, Christopher Cole as well. Yeah, Vita Vey. Did you guys sign him? What's going on with that? I know Johnny said looks like Baker will be under the franchise tag next season. Johnny, he had it over on YouTube. That's why you didn't see the comment, man. Baker Mayfield. Obviously, he's trying to get some money. A lot of people are saying, do you give him a long-term deal? Do you give him a short-term deal? What kind of money do you give him? The guy has played big. He's played big, but in reality, we got to really think about the fact that if we're talking big money, we've seen money that, and I think Ben made a great comment on his Have At It. He said, you got to think about what tier he's in as far as giving him money. The guy has absolutely done great for the Buccaneers. But overall in his career, he only has, one more playoff win than Kirk Cousins? And we've seen now the type of money Kirk Cousins can get. So what kind of money is Baker Mayfield really looking for? And what kind of, how are those guys looking at kind of coming at Baker? Christopher Cole said Baker will get paid. And I do believe that. I have no doubt in my mind that Baker will get paid. The question is, what kind of money will he get paid, and will that satisfy him? Johnny D says $55 million. Baker is currently at the bottom of the franchise quarterback. Okay, well, that's it. Ben talked about it on Have At It the other day about the Baker Mayfield contract. My only suggestion, get him paid ASAP. Prior to all of this, you don't want this to hang over the head of training camp. I talked to you about what happened with my guy a year ago, Terry McLaurin. Didn't get in there till season started. They finally gave him the money. It's all great with that, but it was just a whole damper on the season. Obviously, the injury, him not getting his legs under him, the injuries created a problem. It was a whole big deal from that standpoint. But hey, this is where we're at, man. So we'll see what happens. But look, let's dive into it because we are, ladies and gentlemen, we are a week and a half away from the Hall of Fame game, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I just can't hide it. And I know, a lot of y'all will say that y'all, hey, this is, what are we talking about? This is preseason. This is the preseason. This is basically a powder puff. This is whatever. I don't care. Let me say that right now. I want any type of football. I have been struggling since near in the beginning of February. I need football back. We've been talking about it all off season. I need football back. And the Hall of Fame, ladies and gentlemen, the Hall of Fame game is that first little chef's kiss that we're getting. The Arizona Cardinals will be playing the Carolina Panthers in Canton, Ohio for the Hall of Fame game. That was August 6th, next Thursday. I will be trying to cover. I think I'm going to try to, maybe do a little play-by-play or whatever. Just talk about it. Johnny, matter of fact, Johnny, let me know what you're doing next Thursday. Actually, no, I won't, because I will be out of town I will be out of town for the game. So I will probably be covering it there or wherever. I'm going to be down actually in Florida at that time, in Johnny's old neck of the woods. Yeah. So that's going to be quite interesting. So I'll definitely get in to that. Johnny said Baker said he would play on the tag. Well, that's good. Get him in camp, get his head right, because you don't want him to have to wait. But look, it's going to be the Hall of Fame game, ladies and gentlemen. But we know why. The Hall of Fame game, why they have it. It's definitely the kickoff to the season, but it is also something that we talk about where we talk about the Hall of Famers. Got to shout out Ben Cornett. He said, I did a short video on YouTube yesterday, and I was shouting you out, Ben, because I watched it. He said, I personally think he should get 3 years, $160 million. I'm not worried about the money part, just the years. I give him 2 guaranteed years at this point. I like Baker, but he's peaked in my opinion. Ooh, that's going to be interesting. That's what I wanted to hear from the Buccaneers fans, and I got a lot of you. Somehow I got a lot of Buccaneers fans. I don't know how I got a lot of them. But shout out to AJ. AJ Turnup definitely gets down on his Bucks talk. Chris said Vita Vea will get a bump in pay in an extra year or 2. Okay, good. Has it happened? You want to get him in for training camp as well. This is big for you guys. You solidify that offensive piece, which is Baker. We know the offense goes through him. Then you solidify the defensive piece, Vita Vea. He's the core of that defense. You get those 2 pieces in, and I think you guys got pretty much a lock. If everybody stays healthy, I think you guys got a lock to get your division. So it's going to be interesting to kind of see what happens with you guys in that division. But I'm hyped. I'm hyped to see what's going on. Oh, Johnny D now is on YouTube. Where you have been? Oh my goodness, all over the place. But look, we got to get into it. I talked about it. The Hall of Fame game is right around the corner, and that means we're celebrating the Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, there are 5 guys that will be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, Luke Kuechly, Adam Vinatieri, and Roger Craig. Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to those guys who are inducted into the Hall of Fame. Shout out to my guy, Roger Craig, who was just so long overdue. It was so cool to see Charles Hanley and Ronnie Lott surprise him. He should have gotten in a lot sooner, in my opinion. I get why he didn't. As far as running backs, as far as the actual rushing part of the running backs, he is not one of these even like top 30, 40, maybe even 50 all time as far as rushing. But what he did for the game, especially for the game today, it's unmatched. Okay. First running back to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. And in that season, 1985, had 92 receptions as a running back, which was unheard of at that point. You know what I mean? And I believe he was the first player to have 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl. Where in Super Bowl 19 against the Dolphins, he had 2 receiving and 1 rushing. So shout out to Roger Craig and getting in. And we're going to, as you know, we did a little sports Hall of Fame spotlight, and I'm going to do that again. They are in the comments talking about Baker, saying Baker hasn't peaked a bit. The issue is staff. Sorry, HC. 3 different OCs in 3 years, injuries. Baker still put up 3,500 yards and 27 touchdowns. Oh, I love it. Yeah, and Ben said Baker definitely, Roger Craig definitely long overdue, without a shadow of a doubt. Thankfully, he finally got in. And if you saw what I did a couple last time I was on here, probably about a week ago by now, I did a Hall of Fame spotlight where I talked about Roger Craig and I talked about his career and things that I have. So going along those lines, I am going to continue my Hall of Fame spotlight. And this week, my Hall of Fame spotlight, the great Larry Fitzgerald. Shout out to Larry Fitzgerald, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. I think the stats cement that. Just one of those type of guys. Somebody being a Washington fan, one of my favorite players of all time is Art Monk, right? And Art Monk was one of those receivers that showed up to work, didn't talk about it. When he scored, I mean, he might spike it. Most times give the ball to the ref. Showed up every day. First one to get there, last one to leave. Played the way the game was supposed to be played. And I think Larry Fitzgerald is right along those lines. Guys, hard work ethic, tireless dedication. Just somebody that just played the game the way it was supposed to be played. And his stats absolutely showed how much he excelled. And you could see second all-time in receptions and receiving yards. Look, Larry Fitzgerald played 17 years, okay, with one team, the Arizona Cardinals, ladies and gentlemen. And I'd be interested to go back and look and see those early days. I think Arizona had already flipped from Phoenix at that point. I don't think he was that far back. But shout out to Larry Fitzgerald, 17-year career, over 1,400 receptions, I think 1,432 to be exact, over 17,000 receiving yards, 17,492, second all-time in receptions and yards, only to the greatest wide receiver of all time, and some believe the greatest player of all time, Jerry Rice. Ben said it didn't matter who your team is or was, Larry Fitzgerald is easy to root for, fun to watch, dude was phenomenal. 100%. I could not have said it better myself. Larry Fitzgerald was one of those type of guys that you turned on your TV and you just wanted to see him play. And I remember going way back when he played at Pitt and watching him, and shoot, when he was on the cover of NCAA, Larry Fitzgerald was one of those wide receivers that just showed up week in and week out, and you just knew that he was going to hands of glue, and he was going to make a spectacular catch. You know what I mean? He might not have had the enormous size of a Calvin Johnson, Megatron, but he was up there and he was good stature, and he would sit there one hand, two hands, whatever. He would definitely make it worth watching, man. And a lot of those Arizona teams were not the greatest, but thankfully they got themselves a Kurt Warner. And Kurt Warner had them on that magical run. They went to the Super Bowl. And I'll never forget, they're down to the Steelers. The Steelers are playing well. And then Kurt Warner starts bringing them back. And I think it was either like a skinny post or like a skinny post or a slant to Larry Fitzgerald, and then he runs up right down the middle in the Super Bowl, and he splits the defenders, and I mean, he outraces all of them. And at that point, I was a Cardinals fan. I was sitting here, I was a Fitzgerald fan more than anything else, and I was just like, come on, because the Cardinals had retaken the lead at that particular point, and I'm thinking, yes, the Cardinals are going to get it done. Unfortunately for him, the Steelers, Big Ben, and Santonio Holmes saying what he said. It's time to be great. And he makes that amazing throw and catch in the end zone, getting it done. Larry Fitz, unfortunately, does not get the title, but he was able to help to get them to a Super Bowl. And hey, you wish he could have sealed it with a Super Bowl win, but unfortunately that didn't happen. But I do not think that puts any kind of damper on his career. He still played amazing throughout his entire career. 11 Pro Bowl selections, 121 receiving career touchdowns, 263 regular season games. the guy is amazing, and he's every bit deserving of being a Hall of Famer. Shout out to him. His son Dion will present him at the Hall of Fame ceremony. I think the coolest thing, one of the things I love the most, is seeing who tells these guys. I talked to you about with Roger Craig, longtime teammates Ronnie Lott and Charles Haley. They were the ones who told him. When you went to Larry Fitz, it was the guy, Randy Moss, ladies and gentlemen. And look, a lot of you, I know my football fans, my guys that I talk to all the time, they know the connection. But a lot of you guys might not know the connection. Randy Moss, the great wide receiver out of Marshall, out of Rand, West Virginia, goes to the Vikings and is absolutely amazing. You know that, 3 catch, 100 some odd yard, 3 touchdown performance against Dallas in the Thanksgiving game all those years back. I mean, you knew Randy Moss. I mean, he had a whole segment, Moss, and I mean, he was just otherworldly. And it's funny because there was a little kid that grew up, maybe not super little, but younger, that grew up and was a ball boy in Minnesota and in Minneapolis. He was ball boy for the Vikings, Larry Fitzgerald, and he would watch Randy Moss, his work ethic. He would watch his technique, watch his game. He learned from him, and they ended up, getting close in those years, man. And it's so crazy. One of, I think it was Larry Fitzgerald's proms, they had such a rapport that he asked Randy Moss. He's like, "Yo, can I?" I need a rock. Can I borrow your BMW? Can I get that? And Randy Moss, without hesitation, gave him the keys, let him show up to prom, doing big things. And look, the connection, their friendship and relationship has grown since then. And Larry Fitzgerald, on the way to his Hall of Fame enshrinement, beat a bunch of Randy Moss's records. And we know Randy Moss is enshrined. We know he's one of the greatest wide receivers of all time. So to see Larry Fitzgerald kind of following those footsteps and then kind of, surpass his idol, I mean, that's one of those things, man, where it's just like, it's storybook. It absolutely is, man. So shout out to Larry Fitzgerald. Shout out to him getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Johnny Dean said James Harrison is one who nailed it for Pittsburgh in that game. That 100-yard defensive TD right before the half. You're absolutely right. That definitely was the difference. But even then, the Cardinals had an opportunity in the second half and ended up taking a lead late in the game that caused the heroics that you saw from Pittsburgh. But, man, look, none of that puts a damper on Larry Fitzgerald and how great his career was, and in that season as well, man. So shout out to him, man. Hey, we'll see what happens that day. He's one of the ones that I'm definitely interested in seeing as he gets inducted. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is our Hall of Fame spotlight for today. Larry Fitzgerald. Hey, again, it's your boy Sean Spencer, a part of Off the Wall Sports, man. And we're going to dive into a little bit of training camp. But before we do that, I'm going to take a quick little breather. Got to pay some bills. Shout out to my guy, Anton Benton. Awesome Artisans. You're going to want to, if you need some work done, ladies and gentlemen, if you need work done, get in touch with my guy, man. He's going to help y'all out. I'll be right back. Yeah, buddy. Shout out to my guy, Anton Benton of Awesome Artisans. If you're go on Instagram, it's awesome_artisans. He's on Facebook. He's on most social media platforms, man. Definitely get in touch with him, man. look at his Facebook, look at his Instagram. He's got so much great work that he does, man, and he really is out there just putting in work, building up clientele, really just one of those legitimate, solid, guys, attention to detail, great dude, man. He can do a lot, man. So you're going to want to get in touch with him. But, hey, get at him ASAP if you need stuff done, because he gets a lot of work. And, hey, stretched a little thin. He had to have his boy come out and help him. And I appreciated the letting me come and put a little work in. That's my guy, Anton Benson, in the building, man. Shout out to him. But, hey, what's up, people? It's your boy, Sean Spencer, Off the Wall Sports. You see that. Brought to you by Off the Wall Media. We are on Off the Wall TV. Yay. How are we doing? How's it going? Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is cool with you. Your boy, Sean Spencer, is chilling. He's chilling, trying to rock that squad. Trying to rock that burgundy and that gold, even though we out here sitting here firing coaches because of they off the field nonsense. Get it together, Washington. What are we doing? Okay, we got to get past this. Ladies and gentlemen, it is that time of the year, and I'm so excited. I tell you, I'm not going to sing again, but I'm so excited. NFL training camp is back. We are back. Yes, and there are so many storylines. There's so many different things going out there. I know a lot of times, a lot of people are like, man, I'll just wait till football season. This is all nonsense. But there's so many things right now that you can speculate about. This is one of the things that I love about this time of the year, because you really don't know what's going to happen. People are trying to get contracts. People are trying to figure out who's going to be where, who's doing what, what's going on and all this stuff. We don't know, but we can definitely talk about it. So, first thing that we're going to do, and what I've done over the last week, I went and looked at some of the teams around the league, just some very early, AFC storylines. I think I had my guy Nine the Poet on talking about the Houston Texans, and went and talked about one of the other teams in his division, the Jacksonville Jaguars, and their wide receiver issues. And then talked about the Denver Broncos. Hey, new OC. Will that change anything? Can they repeat and go deep and maybe even to the Super Bowl this year? And I also, who else did I talk about? Jaguars, Texans, Broncos, Cincinnati. Talked about Cincinnati and their defense. That's right. Talked about them. So, yeah, quite interesting to see. But this week, we are going to dive into the AFC East. As you guys know, there was a new winner in the AFC, the New England Patriots, ladies and gentlemen, who were able to win the division and take it all the way to the Super Bowl under North Carolina's finest, Drake May. Unfortunately, they were not able to win it all, losing to the Seattle Seahawks. Johnny Deed said Rams. No, I didn't talk about the Rams. I did talk about what's his name? Scott's guy, who he keeps sitting here, Scott Thaler. He keeps sitting here saying he's coming back. But I did end up talking about Aaron Donald, which right now, I don't know if he's coming back, but still a lot of speculation, still a lot of stuff. But look, we going into the AFC East, and I think the biggest question, Patriots. Can the Patriots repeat? No longer have Stephon Diggs, but they do have A.J. Brown, and that's going to be one of the biggest questions. Obviously, Buffalo now has a new head coach. What will that look like? Miami essentially got all their veterans out and is a very young team. So we're going to get a lot of young guys out there. What can they produce? And then the Jets, who are teetering. You got Aaron Glenn, great coach, great defensive mind. Geno at QB. One half of them is like, well, can we get the Geno that we got from 2022, 2023? Or are we going to march for Arch? Arch being Arch Manning, tanking essentially to get that number one pick, to see if they can go ahead and pick up and Arch Manning, and that's going to be quite interesting. Oh, Donald is coming back, Johnny. Is that confirmed? I need to know if that's confirmed, because we will definitely have to dive out and talk about that if that is confirmed, man. So he said Donald's coming back, and that would be pretty cool if he did. But look, let's go ahead and dive into it. The AFC East, starting with the AFC champions, the New England Patriots. Okay, and obviously, like I said, the question: can they repeat in the East? Can they extend their glory under Drake May? Obviously, there's a lot of off the field stuff for Mike Vrabel that seems to be behind him right now. Quite interesting what all that stuff's going on. But now let's get back to football and see, can Drake May in year 2 under Josh McDaniels, can he push up? Can he, start to really weaponize, his game and really start to create a good rapport with AJ Brown? That's going to be something I think you're really going to want to take a look at. But I think the number one thing, and we talked about it, Johnny, I talked about it with you guys in Tampa Bay, the number one thing that the New England Patriots, I think, need to be focused on right? He said, look, Johnny said, Pats repeat what? Losing the Super Bowl? No. In our AFC East champs. AFC East champs, and he said, I will confirm it. Hey, let me know, Johnny. But the number one thing I think the Patriots need to be concerned with right now, their extension of Christian Gonzalez. Christian Gonzalez is able to be extended. Obviously, we've seen Christian Gonzalez is probably a top 5, if not top 3 corner in the league right now. Okay, Pro Bowler in 2025. We've seen how elite the guy is when he plays. Christian Gonzalez is, in my opinion, well worth every penny. I mean, he's gradually growing to be, a premier corner, obviously one of the top corners in the league by my estimation. The question is, can New England, can they get him, sign the paper, get him extended, and really lock this guy down? He's well worth it. When he was asked kind of middle of the offseason, hey, if you have, if they don't, extend you, how's the, are you gonna still show up to training camp? You're still gonna be good? And he was just kind of like, hey, it's a long time between now and then. Not really answering the question, and that's going to be something that I think you want to keep your eye on. He really wasn't there for a majority of the volunteer, off-season programs. He did some of the slower, walk through mandatory stuff, but, really wasn't there for a lot of the other stuff. So I think the question is, can this be something that would rear its ugly head if they don't try to, pay him? If they don't put that money in on him, is this going to be something that could bite the Patriots in the back later on down the season? And you guys let me know first. Hey, how good do you think Christian Gonzalez is for the New England Patriots? How is he a top 10 corner in your opinion? Do you think that Christian Gonzalez is somebody that deserves to get this extension, that the Patriots need to lock him down? Is it a necessity for them to lock him down before the season? My opinion, I think it is a necessity, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts on it and how everything else plays. But another big storyline, and I talked about Josh McDaniels, year 2 with Drake May. We've seen how they were able to connect last year, and a lot of people really said Drake really didn't show out, didn't shine in the way that, maybe some of these other top-tier quarterbacks is. And I'm going to be honest with you with Drake, and this is a lot of what I saw when he was in North Carolina. Drake has a talent, 100%. Okay, he can throw off center. You can scramble around. The guy, can throw from any arm angle. We know the guy can run the offense, can read the offense. Struggled in the Super Bowl, but everybody struggled against that defense of Seattle. Okay, Drake May, I think, if he can stay healthy, could potentially be one of the top 10 QBs in the league. Drake is, but even now, I mean, last year he was neck and neck with Matt Stafford and the MVP race. Drake May is a legit quarterback and not is far above average. I think Drake May in this year, especially with a harder schedule, I think Drake May is going to prove that he is one of those elite tier quarterbacks. And it's going to be interesting because a lot of people are either they like him or they're not sold on him. And this is one of the reasons why. Johnny said Pats aren't sneaking up on anyone this season. There are a lot of disorder in that organization. The Super Bowl losers have a tendency to disappear the following year. And that's going to be it. Everybody's always talked about the schedule they had last year. Like you said, they're kind of like Washington when Jaden Daniels came. Nobody saw that coming. We won a lot of close games. We had a very favorable schedule. We won a lot of games that we potentially should not have won. And then, kind of snuck up on people. We came up against a coaching issue, I guess you would say, with Tampa Bay, because you guys had us in that first half, but we ended up coming back and getting that victory. Then we encountered a very injured Detroit Lions team to get to the championship, and then we got smoked in the championship. But we snuck up on a lot of different teams that year, and a lot of people think that's exactly what we're going to get from New England. And I'm interested in seeing. And he said Buccaneers didn't struggle against Seattle. It was a shot that we won. Oh, hashtag Baker. Yeah. Look, Seattle is one of those tougher teams, and we've seen it. Drake and you also got to think about this. Drake is still a younger quarterback. We know how younger quarterbacks fare when all the lights are on. You know what I mean? Jaden struggled when we went up against a buzzsaw that was the Eagles in that big time game in the NFC Championship. So, a lot of these younger quarterbacks, they still will be young and they're still going to play. And I think this year is going to see, like I said, year 2 with him and Josh McDaniels, Mike Vrabel, can he limit all the off the field nonsense and focus, keep the main thing on the field? You got A.J. Brown. We know the kind of turmoil that he had in Philly. Does he come here with a clean slate, and can he keep things straight? Because if there's a lot of animosity or nonsense going on in the locker room, that could be the number one thing to knock out a quarterback's focus and everything like that. Then on top of that, you're sitting here dealing with the Patriots not even being considered the best team in the division. A lot of people still think Buffalo is the best team in that division. So it remains to be seen what kind of Patriots team shows up this coming year. Oh, shootout. Yeah. This coming year for the Patriots. So, hey, I'm not sure what to expect. I do think, in my opinion, I think I had the Patriots at like 9 and 8. I think the Patriots still sneak into the playoffs. I think Drake is going to have a good year, but I think there's a lot of external factors that might play a role, namely the Christian Gonzalez contract. Does he get paid? Does he, can they lock him down and get him in camp so he's not sitting here having that hang over the head? Does the Mike Vrabel stuff come back up, from now to the season or in the beginning of the season? You know what I mean? Does Drake or AJ or any of these guys get hurt? A lot of these things are going to come into play this year, but I still think they're as good as advertised, but it'd be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see kind of how all that stuff plays out going forward. All right, moving on to the next team and arguably the best team in the division, the Buffalo Bills, ladies and gentlemen, who, hey, after 7 seasons, Sean McDermott, no longer their head coach, now former offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who did call the plays last year. He is the 21st head coach of the Buffalo Bills. He was the offensive coordinator of 24 and 25, and before that, the quarterbacks coach of 22 and 23. It's going to be very interesting to see kind of how he implements. He said he was trying to make things tough, in training camp and get those guys up and ready to go. And kind of, each time a new coach comes in, he really tries to, make his make his presence felt. Let people know, hey, I'm the new coach. I'm the guy that's in here now. So we're going to see. They've been under McDermott for all those years, obviously had all that success, just coming close, a number of years getting to the championship, just coming close, could not get over the hump to beat the Chiefs and move on to the Super Bowl. And then obviously lost last year. I believe they lost to Denver in the championships or in the divisional round, so they couldn't make it there. So, hey, Buffalo now having the new coach and Joe Brady. The biggest change, though, is the defense. We know under Sean McDermott, they ran the 4-3. Now that you got Jim Leonard coming in, taking over at DC, they're going to be running a 3-4. What does that look like in Buffalo? What kind of changes will that entail in Buffalo? They've run things one way for the last 7 years. Now, all of a sudden, you're switching things up. Will that be an issue? I mean, can that transition happen seamlessly, or will that be something that really kind of makes them struggle early on in the season? That's what I'm going to be focused on this year. Kind of, can Buffalo and the new regime kind of take over, and is it going to be a business as usual, or are they really going to try to switch things up and really make something happen? Buffalo and Baltimore with the new head coaches, kind of the switch in culture and regime and mentality, how are things going to be different? How much from the past stays the same and how much is changed? Obviously, we know about Josh Allen. Josh Allen, a couple years ago, NFL MVP. This guy is by far one of the better quarterbacks in the league. We've seen how talented he is. I think when I did my top 10 quarterbacks, as talked about from the NFL execs, the head coaches, and the scouts, Josh Allen was one. He got number one over Patrick Mahomes. Now, I'm going to say it's probably going to be because Patrick Mahomes obviously was hurt, last year, at the end of last year. But still, Josh Allen has been consistent, and he's definitely deserving of being top 3, if not number 1. I liked his position. So it's going to be very interesting to kind of see. The other thing that I'm very eager to see about, we got the tight end situation. Dalton Kincaid, can he stay healthy? That defense, Terrell Bernard, can they stay healthy? One of the things that I'm kind of really trying to take a look at, that wide receiver room. You know what I mean? Was it DJ Moore now is over there? What's going to happen at wide receiver? Khalil Shakir, Joshua Palmer, Keon Coleman, Skylar Bell, Trent Sherfield. Like, how are they going to work? That's always been something that I've been very eager to see with Buffalo. They really hadn't had their number 1 guy since Stephon Diggs left, in my opinion. So now you're getting a DJ Moore, who we know when he's on the field, hey, Washington knows firsthand, he can ball. The guy plays big, even though his size is a little bit smaller. I think he goes to your number 1. Shakir has played good. Keon Coleman could play good. Palmer, a lot of these guys can play good, but will they? And that's going to be interesting to see that. And like I said, the switch. And Johnny said they aren't going to go straight 3-4. It will be mixed in. They don't have full personnel to switch fully yet. It is a process, which, hey, and that's going to be interesting. If they're not going to fully switch to the 3-4, and, obviously when coaches, they got to get their guys. So how long does that transition happen? How long can you keep going with what they had in the past? And do you start implementing that in the training camp and all that? Do the guys take to it? What's going to happen with that? And Johnny said you're going to start seeing more zone defense from Buffalo before this year. And yeah, and that's going to be something that I think is going to be interesting. What does that look like for Buffalo now? What does that look like? The consistency that things have been like with McDermott and with the defense they've had. It's always been one of those defenses that's been decent. The regular season has been better than in the postseason. Obviously, we know that one game where they, back and forth, the one that ended up changing the rules in the playoffs, Buffalo lost in the championship. So was it the championship or that might have been the divisional round in that year. But look, their defense has always been something that has not been as good as their offense, in my opinion. It was better earlier on in McDermott's tenure as opposed to how it ended up becoming. Hey, we're going to see. We're going to see kind of how that plays out now because Buffalo, like I said, is looked at as far better than New England in this division. And a lot of people are looking for them trying to take their mantle back as the lead in the division. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I still got my money on New England, but this change in defense and how this new transition with Joe Brady as head coach and Jim Leonard as DC, that's going to be very interesting to take a look at. Johnny was saying the Buccaneers did it for 3 years. Yeah, no, absolutely. All right, we got to move on because a lot of the reasons why people have said that both Buffalo and New England have had the success that they've had, and for many years with Buffalo, that they said they've had the success they had because of the other two teams in the division. One of which being Miami. The Miami Dolphins, ladies and gentlemen, have made moves, and a lot of it has really been to show that the future is now. We know they got Tua out of the building, which I still think Tua needs to hang him up with some of the things I've seen from him on the field. But hey, as long as you're still making your paycheck and doing your thing, let's see what that does for you. Obviously, I believe Ramsey was gone. Waddle, he's out. I think Ramsey left maybe 2 years ago, but Waddle, he's now at Denver. So Miami, right now, it's all about the draft class. They're youthful. I mean, they are extremely young. Malik Willis will now be their head coach or their quarterback. We've seen him. He just got in here a couple years ago with Tennessee, and then he was with Green Bay, I believe, last year, and now he's over here. We'll see him take the mantle. We know Miami's got a number of draft picks. The first round, they got the 6'7", 350 plus lineman from Alabama, Caden Proctor. They got a safety, Chris Johnson, and then they got a tight end, Will Kaczmarek. These three guys most likely will be. I'm pretty sure Proctor's starting. Kaczmarek at tight end most likely will be a starter day one. And shoot, even Chris Johnson, once he gets signed, yeah, he'll most likely definitely be a starter. Then you got the second round pick, Jacob Rodriguez, that linebacker. We're going to see how he fits in from Texas Tech. You got the third round wide receiver, Caleb Douglas. Where does he fit in? How is he going to come in? Louisville wide receiver Chris Bell is another third rounder. And then you have the linebacker in the fourth round. They picked up Kyle Lewis. These are all young players ready to step up. And I'm going to be honest with you, with the lack of starting talent that you have, with the lack of starting talent that you have in Miami, a lot of these guys are going to get an opportunity. You know what I mean? And depending on, a lot of some rookies want the opportunity. They want to get in there. They want to play right away. Some, they want to sit behind and wait and learn what they can learn. It's going to be trial by fire here in Miami. Obviously, we know GM John Eric Sullivan, he wanted to restock. He wanted to get these guys going, build them up from the ground up. A lot of fresh young talent in Miami. With the Jets, they can pull victories out over there. They can clearly, New England, they could try. Buffalo, they can try. It's going to be harder, but they're going to get a lot of young guys in here. And I think that's going to be something that Miami is really going to show, like from the beginning. This is what we got. Like, you guys, it might look rough for a while, but I think later in the season, maybe we're going to see something turn around. I can't guarantee that because it's going to be interesting for Miami. I'm going to put it to you like that. I mean, I'm looking around that roster and I'm just like what was the movie? What was that movie? Major League, where he's like, they look at the roster like, who are these guys? You know what I mean? It's like you don't really know. It's a lot of young guys, a lot of cast-offs, a lot of different guys that have come from different places. I mean, I look at right here. We talked about Malik Willis at quarterback. I look at their wide receiver room. Tutu Atwell, Terrace Marshall Jr., Kevin Coleman, the rookie wide receiver out of Missouri. Then, like I told you, Caleb Douglas from Texas Tech, Chris Bell from Louisville. I mean, these are a lot of young wide receivers. Who are these guys? How good are they? You know, Keenan Proctor, we know his size and ability. Can it transition into the league, into the pros? You know, there's a lot of questions, a lot of question marks on this Miami team. And I think it really begs the question, what will happen? How good will these guys be? And will there be some major growing pains? Johnny Dean said, I like Willis. The question is, will Miami be patient enough to finish the building around him? And I think that is an excellent point, Johnny, because Willis can play. We've seen it. When he's had opportunities on the field, when he's had a decent team around him, the guy can ball. He can absolutely play. We've seen him play well in college, and he definitely translated when he had a team around him, when he had a coaching staff that believed in him and gave him the opportunity. Now, we know the kind of struggles that might be here in Miami with the lack of depth, the lack of veteran talent, the lack of veteran starter talent. Like, you don't have a lot of these guys that can be starters out here. So you're really going to get a lot of young guys up. It's going to really be a lot of work put into this. And I'm going to be very honest with you. I think it's going to be some growing pains. I think it's going to be a struggle for a good portion of the season. And, you know, that's one of those situations where you could really start to see what you're dealing with early on. You have some great college talent, but can it translate to the pros? Can they turn things around in Miami? It remains to be seen, but I'm going to be honest with you. For my money, I think it's going to be a struggling season for them. I think they're going to struggle this year, and it's going to be one of those situations where you are really going to if you're a Miami fan, you're going to really sit there and just hold on tight, because it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's going to be a bumpy ride, but we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you guys think, how Miami will do. Can this young talent, gel together and turn it up and see in year one? Or to your point, Johnny, will the Dolphins give Malik Willis enough time to play his game and to really build a team around him? Can he prevail in a situation that really doesn't look the best for him? I don't know, but I'm excited to kind of take a look at it and see kind of what this season is going to be like for him, man. So you guys let me know your thoughts on it. Now, last and most certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, oh my goodness, the New York Jets. The Jets. I mean, you know what? This one, a lot of you, I mean, nobody wants to be a Jet. I feel like the Jets, all my Office fans. Look, I'm going to be honest with you with this one. I love Aaron Glenn at head coach. I love some of the moves they've made as far as the draft, getting David Bailey at edge, getting Kenyon Sadiq at tight end. I feel like the Jets can have pieces. The defense, I believe, is decent, and especially with Aaron Glenn being that defensive mind. But then you go back to quarterback, and you're looking at a Geno Smith. Geno Smith was 27th overall in QBR last year and led the league with 17 interceptions. And really, a lot of people are just looking at him as he's a stopgap. He's the in-between from whatever's next. And I feel for Geno, because you look back at 2022, 2023, when he was with Seattle, and his TD to interception ratio was great. They gained like 50 touchdowns, 22 interceptions. I mean, the guy played elite, and then obviously they moved on from him. He goes to the Raiders, struggles with the Raiders. The Seattle gets Sam Darnold, and then 2 years later they're in the Super Bowl. So you really hate it for Geno, because Geno was one of those guys that he was one of the first guys in my memory where you were saying, this is the resurgence of these guys that we thought were done with. Geno was that guy that I was like, yes, I saw him at West Virginia. Geno was the truth of West Virginia. And now I just don't, it pains me to watch the struggles. Now, mind you, the Raiders have been a struggling team through and through. So for him to kind of come to New York, it's just like, it's just bad goes to worse. But we'll see. We'll see how it plays. Going back to Miami, Johnny said Miami is going into season knowing that they are just going to give these guys experience. They're coming in as a rebuilding team. They probably put a 3-year timeline on themselves, like most rebuilding. And then Johnny said, the Jets excite me coming into this year. If everything is going, if they are going to do something in the division, it is this year. It's all on Geno, 100%. And that I think is a big part, Johnny, is the fact that Geno Smith has the ability. I said it, 2022, 2023, has the ability to play top tier football. Geno Smith can absolutely be a legit quarterback. And funny thing is, this is where Geno started. He was drafted by the Jets, and things were rough when he first started. That was a lot on the head coach. But the fact that Geno now kind of comes around full circle, he has defense. I think that line is legit. I'd have to go look more. Johnny, tell me, let me know if the line is legit. But you got Breece Hall in there. You got Garrett Wilson at wide receiver. You have, like I said, Kenyon Sadiq. You have some pieces on that team. You have what I believe is a legit coach and one of the better defensive minds in the league, former Jet, Aaron Glenn. The Jets can do something. Now, they're in New York, and New York, Johnny. We all know New York. On one side in the NBA, they're coming off a title, and New York City is live. They are lit. They are excited. But on the other side, they're kind of sitting there like, listen, we want to tank. New York, some of the New York fans are thinking we want to tank. We want to march for Arch. They want to be the number one pick so they could potentially get Arch Manning, who will be coming out in the 2027 draft. And let me know what y'all think about that. Is it better for the Jets to tank and march for Arch, as they say, and try to sell it out to Arch? And then I'm thinking on the other side, if I'm looking at this and I'm like, I might be potentially one of the top picks, and now I might have to go to the Jets to start my career. Ooh, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know that I want to do that. So look, and we know you don't know you most times, unless you're Eli or John Elway or Shador Sanders last year. Most times you really don't. And I'll say Eli and Elway because they were definitely top 5 picks or number 1 picks. You don't get to choose where you're going to go. But, Arch is one of those quarterbacks that's already coming into the league with, Eli being a star quarterback, for two Super Bowl win quarterback. Peyton, obviously considered one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, 2 Super Bowl wins under his belt. Both of them are very very popular, well loved, well regarded in the league. Arch coming into that, he's already got a lot of backing. A lot of people are interested to see, hey, what he brings to the table, X, Y, and Z. If there's ever somebody that might be able to say, hey, I can go here, I can go there, it might be him. I don't think they're going to let him do that. I think they're going to let him come in there and work it from the bottom up and do things the way he's supposed to do. But hey, we're going to see. We're absolutely going to see kind of how that whole thing plays in. And Johnny said, why Arch? He isn't even the best QB in college. And listen, I agree with that. And that's another part about this. I think we really do need to pump our brakes on Arch Manning, and I think we need to take a look at what this season entails. Arch at Texas struggled last year. He had good moments, without a doubt. He's got a couple more receivers this year to go along with Wingo. So we're going to see that there might be some serious improvement. The guy's got speed. The guy's got an arm. He's got the ability to play at a high level. Yes. Can he play at a high level? Will it translate? And we got to remember, like I said, he's in the SEC. Okay. He's playing in that Southeastern Conference with the Georgias, the Alabamas, you know what I mean? The Tennessees, Florida when they come back up, you know what I mean? Texas A&M, a number of teams that made it far or made it into the playoff in there. And even some of the teams that are struggling, can give them some trouble, or that are less than can give them some trouble. But it's going to be interesting. Most scouts, Johnny said, most scouts currently have him rated 5 or lower. Yeah, oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I've seen it as well. And that's why I say, let's wait until the season gets going. Let's wait and see kind of how things play out. And then here's another thing, man, to the point of, hey, Arch looking in the league like, I don't want to play for the Jets. Do you kind of just, we know he has the ability, but do you kind of just dial it back so that you don't get picked up by the worst possible teams? Because it might not be the Jets. It might be the Cardinals. It might be the Titans. It might be one of the Cleveland. Well, Cleveland's got a quarterback conundrum, if you will. So we don't know where he's going to go or even how good he will be going into this year. So it's going to be interesting. But the Jets fans, just like a lot of fans around the league, they just look at it and they're like, yo, this guy has the name. He has a little bit of ability, X, Y, and Z. Let's put him up there. Look, I say let's strap him up. Just like I said before, he played a lick of daggone college ball, and everybody was already saying he's a number 1 draft pick. I was saying, let's get this guy to play. Let's put him on a team. Let's see how he actually plays. And we saw he struggled then. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting to see how it plays out. And we know the Jets, they're just looking for the next best thing. And Geno, he's a stopgap. I'm hoping Geno dominates. I'm hoping Geno comes out and plays great so that they are not, just throwing him away. Because Geno, I think, is a great quarterback. Yeah, absolutely. I think, Geno, I think, can be a great quarterback. I think he can absolutely play. And then look, I know what I said. Geno is a great quarterback. I think I saw the mechanics. I saw the skill and everything he brought out of West Virginia. I've seen the teams that he started with and how he struggled early on. I get that. And I've seen the resurgence when he was with Seattle a couple years back. He didn't get that last couple of years with the Raiders. And, a lot of that, I got to say, is how poor the Raiders were. Yeah, he had his coach, but the team was atrocious. You know what I mean? So, and they did decent with Ashton Genty last year. And look, he was okay, but yes, he struggled. He struggled a lot. How many receivers did he have? What I mean? What was the supporting cast looking like for Geno? So I think this year could be a telltale sign of where his career goes. If he is able to muster up 5, 6, 7 wins, I think Geno could be legit. I think he, Johnny's right there says it. Geno has no excuses. The Jets have a damn good supporting cast for him. Right. And that's why I think if he can stay healthy and he can get it going, we know Geno is a gunslinger. We know he's somebody that likes to push the ball down the field, wants to get those big chunk plays. I keep going back to his time at West Virginia because this guy, they damn near put, if I'm not mistaken, in one of those bowl games, damn near put like 70 on Clemson. Okay. Yes, that was years ago. Yes, that was a stacked team. But if Geno has the weapons, like we saw in Seattle, if he has the weapons, the guy can play. So that's my 2 cents on Geno. Let's see what he can do with the Jets. I think it's going to be interesting. I love Aaron Glenn. I love kind of the way things are going. If his confidence is there, I'm with Geno, man. I'm with him. I'm saying I guns a-blazing. Let's see what happens. So, hey, there we go. That is my AFC East outlook. stick with me because I will be touching on the NFC East potentially tomorrow. Johnny, I got to get with you one of these days this week because I definitely want to touch on the NFC South and talk obviously about your Buccaneers, but also dive into the Falcons, the Carolina Panthers, shout out to my brother, and dive into the New Orleans Saints because everybody's sleeping on New Orleans Saints. And I know Tampa Bay fans hate New Orleans, but I got my eye on them. Let's just put it that way. I got my eye on them. But look, ladies and gentlemen, this is your boy, Sean Spencer. Yeah, Off the Wall Sports. We are almost done. I have one more subject. First and foremost, I'm going to shout out. I'll call us Western Wear. Definitely want to check them out, man. Any of y'all that are into the cowboy kind of formal wear, the chaps, the hats, you know what I'm saying, the doop, you know what I mean? Get at them, man. I'll call us Western Wear. I did a little commercial for them. And then after that, we're going to do one last word, and we will be out of here. So stay with us. We're almost done. Appreciate you guys hanging out, and we will be right back.
Howdy, y'all. Sean Spencer here. Today we're going to take a look at a little piece of Southern country right here in Midwest home, downtown Chicago. Looking for boots? They've got them. Looking for chaps? Not a problem. Looking for hats? They've got that. Find your piece of country living.
Yeah, buddy. One last word. It's your boy Sean Spencer. You see where we're at. Off the Wall Media on Off the Wall TV. I'm here with you, and we are finishing this thing up. Want to hit you with one last word. And ladies and gentlemen, my last word, as my guy Ben Cornett alluded to earlier, man, UNC, we're already in the news. The season hasn't even started yet. UNC college football. UNC's GM Mike Lombardi was placed on administrative leave today. And listen, I'm not even going to get into it. My girl, Janae Strother. What up, Janae? We almost back, girl. We almost back. Let's go. UNC's GM Mike Lombardi placed on administrative leave. And first thought I heard when I heard this was, what in the world? The season ain't even started yet. And look, now Bill Belichick's right-hand man, the guy, that stuck with Bill Belichick. He was with Bill Belichick as GM at Cleveland. He was with Bill Belichick in New England. And then he came in December of 2024 to UNC following Bill Belichick. And, just talk the big game. This guy, we've known the connection they've had, came in and said, UNC is going to be the 33rd NFL team. We're going to be that good. You know what I mean? With Bill Belichick talking about we're going to be a pipeline to the league. He said, one of the he famously blocked access to the scouts of New England to UNC. And what happened? We win 4 games last year, and we don't even have one player get drafted in the league. So I'm not going to speculate what happened, why he's on administrative leave, what this means for the season, but this is not a good start. This ain't a good start, UNC. This ain't a good start for us. Again, I'm not speculating on what's going on, but it's just one of those things where it's like this guy was, Bill Belichick, Hall of Fame coach, all those titles, 6 titles with New England and 2 with the Giants as defensive coordinator, did all that stuff over there. Instead of retiring, he comes to college and coaches us, brings his buddies with him, brings his son, and now Mike Lombardi, and now this is happening. Now, again, not going to speculate, but for me, I can't take another one in last year's seasons, okay? And I had a double. I had Washington winning 4 games and UNC winning 4 games. Okay. So my college basketball coach got fired a year ago. Now we got Malone. And so he's doing a lot better, thankfully. Right now, Belichick, if you struggle like this, you could be out. And daggone Washington, we had to fire somebody, our tight ends coach, for his off the field nonsense. And Quinn, who 2 seasons ago had us in the NFC Championship, is now, the pink slip is on the door. It's coming close. So my one last word today is just, oh my goodness gracious. When you are in the storm, ladies and gentlemen, sometimes you just got to weather that storm. I always say it, Janae, you're in here. The race does not give it to the swift, nor the battle to the strong, but to they that endure. And ladies and gentlemen, we are enduring. Washington, UNC. Oh, God, this is not a good look. It's not a good look. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am so excited football is back. Janae, I can't wait, baby. Absolutely, me too. I'm so excited football is back. I'm so excited we're back. But this ain't the way I'm trying to start the season, UNC. You hear what I'm saying to you? This ain't it. This ain't it. So, again, not going to speculate what happened, why he was placed on administrative leave, but we got to get it together. So, I don't know. But wait, time out. We got breaking news. Shout out to my inside guy with the Bucks. Says Vita Vea requests a trade from the Buccaneers. What? I just talked about you guys needed to sign him. You need to give him a deal. Now Vita Vea is requesting a trade. A lot of what Tampa fans have been telling me as you have him in the middle. He is a stalwart. He is locked in. He is going to stop that run. Now, all of a sudden, Vita Vea, he wants a trade. Holy Toledo. What is happening? This is crazy. I don't know. I don't know what to say. You guys let me know how you feel about that. Hey, break that news. Yeah, breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Vita Vea, the defensive tackle for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, he requested a trade. And I'm going to be quite honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. That's a big move. That's huge. Hey, Misador just said it over here. I'm looking at TikTok and I'm looking at Facebook. Misador said it. Shout out to Misador, man. The crew roundtable. You guys got to check them out. I love them, man. I haven't been able to get back on because they go normally when I'm at church. So I have not been able to get up there and check them out. But hopefully this season I'll be able to get on there and chop it up with them. And shout out to Brian Robinson, man. Going out there Wrigley Field with the Vienna Bananas and, getting down and rolling. Yo, I wish I had that video. He sent me that video, man. But shout out to him doing his thing, man. It's going to be crazy. Johnny Steen said, if we do trade, we better get something more than a 5th rounder. That's an interesting question. While we have that here, if Vita Vea wants to trade, if you trade him, what's the compensation like? What do you think Vita Vea warrants as far as a trade package? I would love to get a Vita Vea in Washington, secure that middle for us. I mean, that would be dope. But the question is, what does Vita Vea, that trade package, entail? That's going to be interesting. And what does that do for Tampa Bay in the middle? Do you trade for another middle, somebody in the middle, or do you just hope that whatever you have in house is worth it? It's going to be interesting, man. Whatever you do, don't trade his ass to the daggone Dallas Cowboys. The hate is real, Janae. The hate is real. Yo, ladies and gentlemen, oh man, I so appreciate y'all hopping in here. and being with me, man. Johnny, sitting here with the breaking news. Shout out to Ben Cornett, Janae, Misador, all of you guys chopping it up with your boy. I got to get out of here. Johnny, I see you. 7-5 is going to be that's going to be where we're going to have to stop at, man. I got to get up out of here, man, and chop it up with you. No less than a second of values demands a second player or later pick. Hey, I think he is worth that. The question is, will he get that? That's going to be interesting, man. And does he stay until potentially the trade deadline? Maybe they work something out through then, because, you don't want to do this hastily. It's going to be interesting, man. But, hey, I'm excited to see. Look, we're heading out of here. Shout out to all of you that chimed in, that chopped it up with me for the last hour and a half. Hey, I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with me. I will be back. I'm trying to hop back on here tomorrow around the same time, 5 o'clock, and hit y'all up with a little bit of something, man. Chit chat, get down, do what we got to do, man, and talk a little football, man, because we're back. We're back. Let's go. Loving every minute of it. So, for your boy, Sean Spencer, host of Off the Wall Sports, I'm out of here, man. Peace in the Middle East. Rain in Spain. Let's go.
Gentlemen, it is your boy, Sean Spencer. We on air, people. We are live. And welcome to Live with Sean Spencer, your boy. So glad to be here with you guys.